How to rewire your brain for genius. Imagine, for a moment, that your brain is not a fixed machine, but a universe, expanding, bending, reshaping itself with every thought you allow to exist. For a long time, people believed intelligence was like mass, given at birth, impossible to change. Either you had it, or you did not. But nature, as always, enjoys proving us wrong. The human brain is not stone. It is closer to space-time itself, flexible, responsive, and astonishingly alive. And today, we explore a fascinating idea. Genius is not something you are born with. Genius is something you grow into. This is not a motivational slogan. It is a biological fact. If you stay with me for the next half hour, you will not learn how to become smarter in the ordinary sense. You will learn how to think differently. And as history has repeatedly shown us, different thinking is the birthplace of every great discovery. #1 What genius really is? When people hear the word genius, they imagine lightning-fast calculations, impossible memory, or a mind that never rests. But this is a misunderstanding. Genius is not speed. Genius is not perfection. Genius is not even intelligence. Genius is the ability to see what everyone else sees and think what no one else thinks. Consider this: many revolutionary ideas were born not from brilliance, but from stubborn curiosity. A refusal to accept the obvious. A willingness to ask childlike questions long after childhood had ended. Your brain becomes ordinary the moment it stops asking why. Most people are not limited by intelligence. They are limited by assumptions. Assumptions are invisible walls. They tell you what is normal, what is possible, and most dangerously, what is not worth thinking about. Genius does not break the rules. Genius notices the rules and asks who wrote them. This is why genius often looks strange at first. Uncomfortable. Even foolish. History is full of ideas that were laughed at before they were celebrated. To rewire your brain for genius, you must first understand this truth. Your brain is not designed to be correct. It is designed to survive. And survival thinking is very different from discovery thinking. #2 The survival brain versus the discovery brain. The brain you use most of the day is a survival machine. It wants efficiency, shortcuts, familiar patterns. It prefers certainty over curiosity and comfort over truth. This is why routines feel safe. This is why new ideas feel threatening. This is why your first reaction to unfamiliar concepts is often resistance rather than interest. But genius lives in a different mode. The discovery brain is slower, quieter, more playful. It allows uncertainty to exist without rushing to eliminate it. Think of the difference between walking the same road every day and wandering into a forest with no map. The survival brain hates the forest. The discovery brain lives there. To rewire your brain, you must deliberately switch modes. You must create spaces where efficiency is not the goal, where curiosity is rewarded even when it leads nowhere useful. This is why so many breakthroughs occur during walks, showers, boredom, or daydreaming. These are moments when the survival brain loosens its grip. Genius is not forced. It is invited. And invitation begins with permission. #3 The physics of thought. Every thought you think is not just an idea. It is a physical event. Neurons fire. Connections strengthen. Pathways deepen. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself in response to what you pay attention to. Attention is the currency of intelligence. What you repeatedly focus on becomes easier to think about. What you ignore slowly disappears from your mental universe. This is why mental habits matter more than raw talent. If you constantly consume answers, your brain learns to wait. If you constantly ask questions, your brain learns to explore. One of the most powerful habits of genius is prolonged confusion. Most people rush to clarity. Geniuses linger in uncertainty. They stay with problems longer than comfort allows. They allow contradictions to coexist without panic. This is not because they are smarter, but because they are more patient with not knowing. To rewire your brain, practice holding questions without demanding immediate answers. Ask, what if the opposite were true? What am I assuming without evidence? What would a child ask here? Questions are not the absence of intelligence. They are its engine. #4thinking in models, not facts. Most people collect facts the way tourists collect souvenirs. Geniuses build models. A fact answers a question. A model explains relationships. Facts are fragile. They change. Models are adaptable. They evolve. When you understand a model, you can predict, imagine, and invent. To think like a genius, stop asking, what should I memorize, and start asking, how does this system behave? Everything is a system. The economy, the brain, relationships, creativity, even failure. Look for patterns that repeat across domains. Notice similarities between things that seem unrelated. This is where originality is born, at the intersection of ideas. Train yourself to translate concepts from one field into another. Ask how music relates to mathematics, how biology mirrors society, how physics explains psychology. Genius is cross-pollination. #5 The role of play. Play is not the opposite of seriousness. Play is the birthplace of insight. When you play, the brain explores without fear of judgment. It tests ideas without attaching identity to outcomes. Children learn faster than adults not because they are smarter, but because they are less afraid of being wrong. Fear collapses imagination. To rewire your brain, you must reintroduce play into thinking. Sketch ideas badly. Say half-formed thoughts out loud. Entertain absurd possibilities. Some of the most profound ideas began as jokes the thinker took seriously. Ask yourself regularly, what would this look like if I were allowed to be wrong? Permission to fail is permission to discover. #6 Solitude and silence. Modern life is loud. Your brain is constantly being fed opinions, updates, conclusions. But genius requires silence. Not silence as absence, but silence as space. Space to hear your own questions. Space to notice weak signals. Space to think slowly. Solitude is not isolation. It is a laboratory. Some of the most important thoughts in history were born in quiet rooms, long walks, and moments of deliberate disconnection. To rewire your brain, schedule time where input is minimized. No consumption. No performance. No productivity. Just thinking. At first, this will feel uncomfortable. Boring. Restless. Stay there. That discomfort is your brain recalibrating. 7 Becoming a beginner again. The final step in rewiring your brain for genius is humility. Expertise is useful, but it is also dangerous. The more you know, the harder it becomes to see differently. Geniuses protect their beginner's mind. They approach familiar problems as if seeing them for the first time. They question their own conclusions. They doubt their own certainty. To think differently, you must be willing to feel ignorant again. Not once, but often. Ask yourself, if I had never learned this before, what would I notice? Curiosity is not a phase of learning. It is a lifelong discipline. 8 The growing universe. Your brain is not finished. It never was. Every question you ask stretches it. Every assumption you challenge reshapes it. Every moment of curiosity expands it. Genius is not a destination reserved for the chosen few. It is a direction. And every time you choose curiosity over certainty, play over fear, questions over answers, you move in that direction. The universe did not become vast by accident. Neither will your mind. Keep exploring.